Who are the coolest dudes on the planet?
United States veterans.
What's the coolest sport on the planet?
Pro wrestling.
And what would be the coolest podcast on the planet? That would be this one.
U.S. military vets talking pro wrestling.
This is the No Shave Man Cave. Two badass disabled vets sharing their love of pro wrestling, giving you their perspective as fans, talking about current events and matches, history of titles, and who knows what else. Let's do it.
Welcome to the No Shave Men Cave. Now your hosts, Ellie Jair and Jay Tilley.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wrestling fans of all ages, you have joined the number one podcast playing right now on your podcast player, the No Shave Man Cave. You have joined Ellie Jair,
Jay Tilley,
and we are joined by JC coming to us out of Georgia. And we are so excited here in the No Shave Man Cave to announce that we are here. We are a podcast for the people, and today is one of our ever famous casual conversations. What's going on, JT? JC, what's up?
Hey man, not much. So we just finished our podcast for the 22nd. Pretty heavy. Obviously, if you listen to that, cool. If not, whatever, that's fine too. But we wanted to lighten it up and have some fun because obviously that ended and we're all kind of like not happy. So
yeah,
we decided to keep the tickler on and go on and let's just talk some wrestling stuff, which is what we like to do here in the cave. So Jeremy is a lapsed wrestling fan, and I know he was kind of still watching it when I got out of it and transitioned over to WCW and over into TNA and all that stuff. He stuck with WWE, which I couldn't do, so I guess he wins a little bit there. But let's just talk some wrestling. As a lapsed fan, maybe we'll talk about some of the things that are going on right now that maybe would be worth you checking out with all your free time. You add 6 hours of wrestling to the week too.
Sure.
But we'll talk about some stuff, and we can reminisce on some of the things you remembered and some of the things that you liked, and then maybe why you stopped watching. So if you're down for it, let's just go. It's one of the candid conversations in the cave.
Right. Yeah. So what was the last storyline that you remember following? You had mentioned Jake the Snake.
No,
that was me.
No,
No, that was me.
That was him just throwing something out there. I wasn't even a big Jake the Snake fan.
Yeah. So
no,
Jake the Snake, he was the son of Grizzly, who was a huge promoter in the Georgia area. So that, he was one of these, like, had he stayed the course, he would have been one of those Roman Reigns-esque.
Yep.
And he's being called the first anti-hero, whereas we acknowledge Stone Cold, but, sorry, I'm back. JC, so what was the last storyline that you remember when you were following wrestling?
It was with Roman Reigns. He had gone heel. Like he had just. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, so you're not that far lapsed, because that was the breakup of the Shield, right?
Well, yeah, I started watching WWE again shortly after the Shield broke up.
Okay.
And then I stopped watching right when it looked like they were going to bring the Shield back together.
Okay.
So I can't even tell you how many years ago that was. 7 years ago?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, 6, 7.
Yep.
They didn't really seem like they knew what they wanted to do with Roman Reigns. It's like 1 minute's a heel, 1 minute he's a face. And then they teased possibly the return of the Shield, like the three of them were backing each other up. And I don't know. It just, as I was going to say before, but we decided, hey, let's get it on tape here. My problem with wrestling, why I fell off, was that it's very cyclical. They do the same storylines over and over again with different guys. And it's like, and that WWE is horrible about that.
Mhm.
Just redoing the same storylines.
He knows. He knows.
Yeah. I had gotten it, and this is why I probably didn't jump into AEW when it came around. Was Jay had got me into TNA, and I love TNA, and then they
Mhm.
screwed everything up,
Yep.
and everybody jumped ship from TNA to WWE. So that really got me a little more into WWE. But then I realized nothing really had changed with WWE. Even though they had all this new talent, they still didn't have the creative direction that TNA had in its earlier days.
Right.
So it's like I just felt burned as a fan, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done with wrestling. And when AEW came around, and Jay was like, "Oh, you got to check out AEW," I'm like, "Eh." I'm like, "This sounds really familiar to me." I'm
So
like, ah. Yeah.
I laugh about it because we had this conversation and I talked to him about why I have a hard time watching WWE's. They've burnt me mentally. They've burnt me a lot too because same thing. Okay, there's no direction, or the stories are 50-50 booking that go on for a week or two. And that's why I did gravitate to AEW and TNA too until they went to and got crazy. But AEW is completely different, man. It's a different level, and I know it's really toxic on Twitter to say you like one over the other.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, because you're that Mark fan. Oh, you
yeah,
must be on the payroll,
right.
and
I
anyone
wish.
who has a platform are you know, the the a sellout. Oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe that. Okay, hey, God forbid that there's more than one program available, and like Jeremy was saying with TNA or Impact, when Vince Russo came over and they were writing a certain way, and then the stars left that were making Impact who they were, and
Yep.
then you had the AJ Styles and the Samoa Joes depart. You were like, okay, now what? They headed off to Japan. They headed off to the Indies. Came over to WWE, and the the young up and coming wrestlers were stuck because then they sold Impact or TNA Impact. They sold Impact to a company, and they had sort of young creative folks, and then Ring of Honor explodes.
Yep.
So now you've got, and it was just wow. There was just this explosion of wrestling, this uprise of wrestling, and then so many fans got burnt because you're like, well, what are you doing with this guy? And Jay Tilley had mentioned last episode, like, I can't believe AEW just dropped this storyline out of nowhere, and they could have made so much money with this particular wrestler leaving this
Yeah, the CM
particular
Punk
group.
thing.
What's that?
Yeah, the CM Punk thing.
Well,
Like if
CM Punk, but then
they
you
could
had
make a lot of money there.
When 10
Yep.
left Dark Order, you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Oh,
And
yep,
then
yep.
you had everybody in Impact joins Aces and Eights. Everybody and their brother in WCW was in either white and black or black and red NWO. So you're just like completely inundated. And I still think NWO, the original iteration, was a great thing for wrestling,
Oh, hell
and the
yeah.
introduction,
Mhm.
like that was just awesome.
Yep.
And but like you said, once a wrestling fan, you don't receive the investment on the return on your emotional investment. You're like, are you serious? I just lived through this for the last year, and this is the payoff I'm going to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, what made me laugh is because I don't watch WWE as much. Now I have been since we started this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it's my job, but it's become part of the podcast. So I do watch it. As a matter of fact, I
Mhm.
watch Raw twice. I watch SmackDown twice now, usually on as a fan question mark.
It's like,
Yeah. With it on just to kind of pay attention to what's going on. And then
yeah.
I watch it again to kind of take some notes to what we're going to talk about for the show. But what you said was exactly why I've kind of backed out of it. And it was something he and I discussed on a couple episodes ago about the whole Bloodline storyline and how my WWE brain is like, I can't accept the fact that this is really, really great storytelling. Um, even into Monday night, this past Raw, which I know you didn't watch, Jeremy, but this past Raw, I thought they did a really good job of kind of incorporating some of the stuff that happened on the pay-per-view with Sami Zayn and asking Kevin Owens to come out, and then actually long storytelling, having Kevin Owens say, "Nope, what I told you back at Survivor Series stays. I'm done with you. I don't want to work with you." So now this big plan we all thought everybody was going in, whoa, hold on, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, hey, invest more time into it and enjoy it, but I will say now that a certain, I don't want to throw any names out there, but we'll use his wrestling name, Vinnie Mac, is no longer doing the creative. I definitely can see a change in in what WWE is doing. Yes, there are still some of the really silly, like like we said, elimination chamber, some of the turds that float up to the top of the bowl, booking decisions, but there are a few storylines. Well, that's not even true. There's a storyline that is really good in WWE right now, and that's the Roman Reigns thing. So it's ironic that you remembered the heel turn and everything with him, and that's what got me back into WWE right now is his whole storyline. Not gonna lie, when I watch it the second time, it's usually on fast forward. Oh, wait, Roman's on. Let's see what the Bloodline's doing, or Sammy's on, or now Cody is on, because they've tied them all together.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree with you, and it was the reason I lapsed from WWE for a while too. I've always watched wrestling in some aspect. When I wasn't watching WWE, I would turn on New Japan or Ring of Honor or AEW or TNA or WCW. But I give the devil his due. The Bloodline storyline is probably one of the greatest storylines going in pro wrestling right now. And to the point where we watched Elimination Chamber, and I was telling Jared, I'm like, I can almost go back and say, hey, if you're a lapsed fan or you're a person that's never watched wrestling, watch these 3 episodes. Watch the Royal Rumble, or watch the Raw before Royal Rumble, watch the Royal Rumble, and then watch Elimination Chamber. And it's a pretty damn good story. It's been going a lot longer than that, but they do a really good job of kind of editing it all together. And it's worth it if you want to spend some time to just kind of catch up on one of the cool storylines going on.
I may. I've been thinking about it because I've been listening to you guys, and it's yes, I'm a fan. You've got me you've piqued my interest a little bit, so I may. I don't know that I'll ever be an avid viewer that doesn't miss an episode or anything like that. I don't think I can ever go to that point again.
And that's understandable. I'm not that way. Well, I am now because we're doing this, but the only thing I will say I don't ever miss is Dynamite. I watch AEW Dynamite Wednesday night. Usually when it's on TV, whether I'm up till 10:30, 11 o'clock and I have to work at 3 or not, I watch that every Wednesday.
Yeah, I think if you can't sit down and watch and invest the 3 hours, Jay Tilly and I will do our best to summarize it for you. But it's
we're not that good at it, but we're getting
there. Where you left the WWE was, they're shoving Roman Reigns down your throat as the babyface. He gets cracked in the back and then becomes a heel. And now here we are. He's been the champion for 940-ish days. And he hasn't taken a pin
Jeremy's
in like
face.
3.5 days or 3.5 years. And you're like, wait a minute.
It's even better. Not just the champ. He has both belts.
Every belt.
He's got the Raw and the SmackDown Championship belt. He's the undefeated, I think Cody's going to beat him at WrestleMania. Sorry.
I hated that.
Universal.
I hated when they did those storylines.
Yeah.
But for 3 years almost?
900. He'll be close to 1,000 days just past WrestleMania. 1,000 days as champion.
I mean...
So how's this? The last time that JC remembers seeing Cody, he was Stardust.
Yeah.
Now he's back.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
true. I heard
true.
all about his AEW exploits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I heard he was back here and that they've really found a way to use him better.
Gnarly neck tattoo, the American Nightmare.
Secret be told, he's the reason I came back to WWE. I didn't watch. I would skim through it. I'd have it on as background noise. Didn't pay much attention to it. When he left AEW, one, absolutely broke my heart because I'm a huge Cody fan. I got Cody stuff all behind me.
Mhm.
Heck, I met him at a bunch of the AEW stuff they would do here
Knock
at
it
Daly's
off.
place.
Quit rubbing
What'd
it
you
in.
say? Yeah, rub it in. We
Mm.
lost Jer.
I'm still here.
Oh, we just lost your video.
Oh,
That's all right. But yeah, I met him a few times at the. He was one of the coolest dudes. He literally would stay as late as he needed to shake everybody's hand,
Yeah.
and it was great. And it broke my heart when he left. But I'll tell you what, the next Raw, I watched every damn episode from then
Yeah.
on, waiting for him to make his return. I watched WrestleMania, waiting for him to make his return, and he's the reason I got back in, which is good on them because then that
Yeah.
got me invested in the Bloodline storyline and this Roman Reigns thing, and now I'm hooked on that. So
And him
say what you
coming
want,
over
he's a draw.
from AEW got me more invested in AEW because it didn't it didn't register why he would leave. And he was on a podcast where he's I think it was Ariel Hawani, where he said, I barely had stroke over there anyway. I'm like, wait a minute, you were like one of the founding fathers of the number two wrestling organization. So for him to come out like that and say,
Yeah,
yeah, I barely had stroke. And then he was telling a funny story. He got kind of bum rushed by a fan in New York who
wasn't me.
has a small podcast, and he was like, "Hey, so what's your deal?" And he tried to be as politically correct as possible. This is Cody in New York talking about he had just left one of the interviews that he did. Yeah, I'm really excited. Can't wait to get to WrestleMania, and I'm going to do my best to ensure that I finish the story. And the podcaster was like, "Well, what story you're talking about finishing?" And the look that he gave him, I was just like, "Holy Stardust!" And he gave him this he just flipped his hands out like
Yep.
Stardust used to do. And I was like, "Dude, I am so glad that you're not having to, you know." And I enjoyed all the iterations, the dashing, when he was with the first sort of version that him, DiBiase, and Orton came out
it's
when that
boring.
was sort of what they were going to do. Um,
Legacy was boring. I thought
yeah,
those guys were so boring. I
I
mean,
was
Randy
like,
Orton was the only draw,
yeah,
and yeah, DiBiase and Cody were just
yeah. I had
honestly. I never
such
liked
high
it. I
hopes for that.
liked this. Here's this one for you. I liked
Yeah,
Stardust at first. The idea that they finally found something to do with him because I felt like they didn't know what to do with him.
yeah,
And I liked Stardust at first. Him and his brother working together was just so cool.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Feeling that legacy from their dad,
Hmm.
and just it was just really really cool. And then they had them fall apart, and he turned on him, and there was no reason for it.
Yeah.
I was like, why does WWE feel like when they finally find something good, they have to ruin it? And it's like,
That's why
Vince
we can't
McMahon.
have nice things.
I mean, it's like
That's
you
funny.
finally found a good way to use this character and this wrestler, and you're gonna screw it all up.
Yeah,
And they did. And I don't know, but I would think that part of the reason why he left is he got sick and tired
It
of
is.
every time they gave him a push, they'd give up on him like a month in, and he'd have to start over.
yeah,
Um, and then he wasn't getting any airtime for a while, and then they'd say, "Okay, we're going to give you another push." Last the month, didn't work. You're done.
yeah,
The
Well,
WWE has no follow through. They can't. They don't stand behind their wrestlers.
yeah,
yeah.
and I think it was Vincent McMahon who told Cody that he wouldn't be a big star, and that's why they never thought they'd do anything with him. And Cody pretty much said, "All right, I'll prove you wrong." And whew, if you want to see some good matches, if you don't want to get back into just wrestling in general, you just want to see, hey, I want to see some good stuff. Go watch some Cody matches from New Japan with him and Okada,
Oh
or
my
him and Kenny
goodness.
Omega. Then you'll have, if you thought he was good as Stardust, oh man, the iteration of Cody that went to Japan and went to Ring of Honor and started AEW. Here it is. Mwah. Chef's
Yeah,
kiss.
the
It was
chef's kiss,
amazing.
that's his finisher.
Yeah.
The the Juice Robinson when he won the
Oh, yep, yep.
IWGP US title, that was a really good one. He had what was the last one we watched with New Japan? He took the L.
Um,
It wasn't Hakata.
No.
Ibushi.
Yes. Yeah, Ibushi.
And the storytelling, the fighting from underneath, the just like the crescendo at the end, it was everything that you want a wrestling match to be, to sort of tell the story like, okay, he did the business, he's leaving New Japan, he's going to head off to, whatever his next story will be. And next thing you know, he's booking a 10,000 seat stadium because he was challenged that he wouldn't be able to do it, and they did it in 4 minutes.
Yep.
So that was
All in.
yeah, that was freaking awesome.
So
That was
we've
all
talked
in,
about.
right?
Yeah, that was All In. Yeah,
Yeah,
All In at I forgot what stadium, but yeah, that was All In. That was the
like
launching point.
Nebraska or something.
Yeah, where they came up with like we could do this for real AEW.
Hmm.
Ring of Honor had a lot to do with that, but yeah, that was
True.
All In.
Yeah,
So we
Nick
talked a lot
Aldis and Ring of
go
Honor.
ahead, sorry.
Yeah,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go. I was stepping on you. Go, Jer.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, it was in Nebraska, and then Nick Aldis offered up, or he took the challenge from Cody. Cody won the title that Dusty had held, and that was his second world title because he had won the Ring of Honor and the end of now he was the NWA, and then he was the NWA and the IWGP US champion, building clout, getting ready to head into, the what would AEW end up being, and it was just, man, to see it now,
Yep.
what it is, that's that's amazing. That is an absolute, like, it's more than a 360 because his dad laid the groundwork and did all this great stuff. And to see what NXT is, and everyone that went up through NXT when Dusty was there are on the main roster
Yep.
and are the roots and the blood, like the energy that flows through the WWE right now, and it's awesome. And to have Cody back and to have some of those awesome stories, that's really cool.
Yep. So what I was going to say is we talked about what got you out of wrestling. What do you remember the good stuff? Like what storylines and that kind of stuff that you remember going, ooh, I was really excited about this and love that, because I'd be curious, like hearing it, if I can go, ooh, AEW does that, or hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Like I said, not that I want you to get back into investing all kinds of time in your life, but just curious what you remembered of the good stuff.
I mean, I'm an old school fan from the '80s. Watched WWF at the time, and some WCW, NWA. Um, so I was a Sting fan, and I was a Hulk Hogan fan. I liked Andre the Giant, and I still go back to that WrestleMania where Hogan picked up Andre the Giant.
Yep.
Oh, number 3.
Yeah, and when I see the behind the scenes stuff where Andre's like, "Pick me up," and Hogan's like, "What?"
You want me to
Pick me
what?
up. So he goes out and he picks him up, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, so I mean that kind of shocking moment, that kind of stuff. That's what I love, where they just go for it. Um, where everything. I mean, we know that it is scripted, but I love the time frames when the wrestlers were allowed to make decisions on the fly for what they
Mm.
thought would look good, put on the best show. I feel like WWE got away from that, but they were the best at it
Oh
because,
yeah.
I mean, WCW was great until Vince Russo came in and ruined everything.
Oh,
Um, Nitro was awesome. NWO was awesome. It was great. The battles and stuff. I was a huge DDP fan. Um, loved WCW in those days. But then what WWE did to counter that with the Attitude Era? Oh my God! I mean,
Yep.
there are so much legendary things that happened during that changed what wrestling was. Um, so that time frame when wrestlers were allowed to be the ones that showed they had the talent for it, to be involved in the creativity of their characters, to be involved in putting on a good show, that was when wrestling was, in my opinion, the best.
oh yeah. That's awesome.
Matches,
Like
I'm a
goosebumps.
huge I am a huge tag fan. I love tag teams.
Yeah, me
That
too.
was also something that's kind of disappointed me in wrestling in more recent years because they don't take the tag team seriously.
You should check out AEW.
I know you already gave me a lecture on that one.
Little Iggy.
I loved, of course, the original TLC match.
Boom.
That will always go down as one of my favorite matches of all time because I was a fan of all three of those tag teams from before that happened. I loved ECW. Jay and I used to record
Oh,
ECW on videotape and watch it
yep.
at his house.
That's awesome.
So I mean, I loved the Hardys. I loved the Dudleys. God, Dudleys were such unbelievable, awesome heels. They were just so great back in the day. Um, and I loved the Sandman. He was just great.
Oh, yeah.
He was so great. He put on such. I never
Such a great
ever liked
showman.
Rob Van Dam's character ever, but in the ring, he was great to
Yep.
watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the ECW days. I loved when they could just kind of hop back and forth between WCW and ECW and no one cared.
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
couldn't do that with Vince. He would never allow that. He required contracts. ECW and WCW are like, do what you want.
Yeah, they had a good working relationship.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, especially with the Hardys, they loved to jump back and forth between WCW and ECW. And then, of course, they made their transition to WWE, and then WWE bought out WCW, and everything went to crap. Um, but yeah,
So-
that original TLC match always goes down in mine. I love stables, large stables like NWO. You don't really see that anymore. Stables are still kind of around, but not really. I miss those days. I also love the Four Horsemen.
Oh,
All
man.
iterations. All iterations.
Yeah.
Arn and Orton Anderson, of course, Ric Flair. Who else was on? Who was on the original lineup? I know it was the
Tully
Blanchard. Yep.
Blanchard with the
That's right.
TV title, and then Arn came in. Arn would carry the TV title, and Tully would kind of go back and forth with the U.S. title and the TV title. And yeah, that was a great Arn, Ole, Rick, and Tully with what was their manager's name?
Did they have one?
Yeah, the
I don't
blonde
remember.
dude. Yeah, so they had their manager who would just kind of walk around. And he would hold the
It wasn't Bobby the Brain, was it?
no,
Mm-mm.
no. It was
One of the greatest managers of all time, though.
Yeah, he was.
evidently, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, he's
that was-
Googling it now.
but you're spot on with the Four Horsemen. That was
Yeah, some of the best tag wrestling, one of the hottest stables, and then even the iteration that was in during the NWO era, where they were trying to get Dean Malenko, and it was
Yep.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Mongo and Jeff
Chris
Jarrett,
Benoit,
Benoit.
Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
Yeah, that was some great stuff there. Yeah, I mean, I love the Horsemen. I even loved.
Go ahead.
Well, I even loved from TNA some of the tag teams there. The Beer Money.
Love Beer Money.
Beer Money used to remind me of who are those guys? God, I know both the wrestlers. It's just I'm horrible with names. I will blank out on a name that I've said 1,000 times at any given moment. But the where they were for hire.
APA.
APA.
Yeah.
Beer Money reminded me of APA a lot.
Yeah.
Same kind of attitude. Like we don't give a whatever. We're gonna do what we want when we want, and just the freaking motorized cooler handing out beer to people. I mean, that was good stuff.
Awesome TV. I had high hopes that Beer Money would come to the WWE, and they spent like 2 days at NXT, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Yeah.
So,
well, do you remember, Jer, when we went to Universal? It was me, you, and Rob for that pay-per-view.
Yep.
Yep. They called me out as a military member and then put us in the front row.
Yes, they did.
I don't remember what pay-per-view it was. One of the TNA pay-per-views, and we legit were front row with Hogan and Sting and all those guys walking by, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was a
it
good
pops up on
time.
my Facebook feed every year, and I'm like,
Oh,
I
does
remember
it?
all that.
Dude, that's awesome.
That was a
You
good
you
time.
got a picture with the dude from Big Brother
Big Brother, yeah.
that went turned into wrestling. I don't remember his name,
Eric something. I don't remember his name either.
but
He never
yeah,
made it that big. But yep.
no.
Then I remember we were teasing Beer Money because I forget what the tag team match was, but I remember we were doing the Yay and Boo thing, and Beer Money looked over to me and goes, "What about us?" I'm like, eh.
Eh.
So that became the cheer was Yay, Boo, eh.
Did
It
you ever?
might have
Did
been
you ever
my other
watch it?
favorite tag team from there was Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I love those guys. They reminded me of the Hardys when they were young.
Yep.
It was good
Yeah.
stuff watching them. But I think it was a 3-way tag match because we
I-
were booing and
Yeah.
it was. I want to say it was the Guns. I don't remember who the third tag team was, but they were the ones that were getting booed. And
Yep.
that Beer Money was like, "What about us?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Eh."
So that became the chant.
Did you?
And
Did you
Storm
bring
is
that
like,
up?
Yeah, I did. I actually brought that up to James Storm when I met him, and
"Did you
obviously,
really?"
yeah, he
You still
obviously
get
didn't
your beer
remember, but
bottle?
yeah, I've got a. Oh, I don't know if you can see it in your cameras here, but I got a
Uh-oh.
beer bottle signed by James Storm. This is to Jason from James Storm. We met him at the WrestleCon that was here,
At the WrestleCon.
and he and I talked for like 55 minutes. So
It was
Very cool.
nearly 2 days that they talked.
yeah, we talked for like 3 hours. So the ongoing joke is every time I bring it up when we were at the show, Edie kept saying, "You keep adding 5 minutes to every time." So now, literally, every time I bring it up, I add 5 minutes to it. So
Yeah.
that's where the 55
The
minutes came
manager's
from.
name was J.J. Dillon.
That's right, JJ
For the
Dillon.
Four Horsemen.
Cannot remember him at all.
Yep,
I
he went
remember the
on
horse
to.
because the thing of it is, Flair's personality was so much larger than life. He did not
Yep.
need a manager. He did not need anybody to manage him.
That's
Okay.
It's sort of in focus, but I do
Yeah.
remember JJ Dillon. Yeah,
I can't remember. I mean, we're going back a long time.
yeah. We're all old.
um, but yeah, I always remember Flair being the mouthpiece for the Horsemen.
Yep.
Because that's what he did, run his mouth. That was his claim to fame.
He
So
styled and profiled.
yeah.
Yep.
So not to sound like the AEW show, but you would. I'm not lying, man. I think you would enjoy AEW because all the things you talked about your highlights is the things they're doing now, which is I think
Mhm.
why they were able to bring in the fans they've got, like me and the people that have lapsed, because they're going to unscripted promos. They have one of the nasty, most vile heels in the business, in my opinion, with MJF. They've brought back tag teams. Now they're bringing back trios. They've got the stable things going. Like a lot of the stuff you talked about that us old school fans like, they're doing, on top of the fact that they put on some really, really good matches.
Yeah. A
So
lot of the talking heads in wrestling say, if I got $100 and I can only go to one show, I'm going straight to AEW. And I was skeptical the first couple times that I went with Jason, and I I was not disappointed. And to the point where this Friday or this past Friday, I was so looking forward to Rampage, which is normally an afterthought in wrestling because it's an hour after you just watch like 15 hours of wrestling throughout the week. It's an hour, and you're like, okay, whatever, they're going to mail it in. And it was the absolute show of the week. And
yep.
our highest, you got the most beards from me, and it was a lot of fun. And it's like a rock concert with some wrestling, and it really brings it. And the slowly, but I don't know if surely is the right way. The crowd in on Monday Night Raw in Ottawa was alive
Yep.
and very active, very vocal. Because normally the WWE crowd, they just sit on their hands. Okay,
Yeah. They're like
and
Japanese clap
AEW
crowds.
brings it.
Uh,
Yes, yeah, they go. Okay,
Mm.
no, that's cool.
Cool.
I also love the hardcore division stuff. I was
Well, and
huge fan of that.
that was the other thing I was going to say is ECW. When you talked about that, like there's a lot of those elements in AEW too. Because I would say once a night there's a hardcore bloody match, so it's interesting to
least.
watch.
Yeah, I know you don't like that stuff, Jared.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I've heard that's not your
Not my
thing. But
jam.
you pick a match with Mick Foley in a cage, and I'm there.
Yep.
Any of them. Any of them. I was such a huge fan of the crazy stuff he did.
Yeah, Foley was amazing.
And anybody that wrestled with him, he would elevate, and anybody who's willing to take him on in a cage match was usually just top notch. I mean, any of his pay-per-view cage matches, just thumbtacks everywhere, broken glass, baseball bats with barbed wire. I was down for all that stuff. That's what I loved about ECW, because they had no limits. They would do anything for a show, and WCW made their attempts, and WWE made their attempts, and they were pretty good. But ECW was where hardcore really was born.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Jared made the mistake of putting that challenge out for the bloody matches to watch, and I'm like, buddy, you have no idea some of the stuff that's out there that I've seen.
Mhm.
Watch some of the matches that have come up in like some of the threads and stuff. And there was one, it was Brock Lesnar against Undertaker, and it was in a cage. And
Jared and I are both like, what? As a hardcore match?
No, I mean there was blood everywhere, and it made no sense. Like the Undertaker leans forward and he puts his hand on the cage, and as he goes to pull up, it's just like, I'm like, check please.
Man, I could show you some good stuff.
Dude,
Next, we need to do a live reaction show, and we'll put you and me, and I'll throw on some of the death matches I used to watch. Some of the because it originated in Japan, so we'll pull up some of those original barbed wire, electrified in the middle of the water, exploding matches. Because you talk about some. I mean, I remember watching the match where Mick Foley got his ear ripped off. So, yep,
yeah,
and
I
then
saw that. And he was looking around, and then he just went like, okay, yeah, I guess we just leave our earlobe. That's cool.
Yeah, the match where Nick Gage almost died because he cut that artery in his arm. The David Arquette match where David Arquette gets pissed and kind of tries to go at Nick Gage, and Nick Gage is like, "Oh, you want to mess around?" And cuts his neck. Yep, cuts his throat.
Just sitting there holding himself, trying to get the pin. Like,
yep, yeah. Oh, yeah, I got some good ones.
I love tag matches. I think that's awesome. I can do like the 3 tag team matches, but if you get like the four ways, that's just too many people. I love me some tag team, and the storytelling, like when you had like Razor Ramon, when him and Heartbreak Kid were going for the Intercontinental title. He had some really good matches with The Rock. And then WCW, when they had Sting against Ric Flair, and Sting was trying to move on from the United States title to be the world champ. It was just like, come on, just give him the title. And he was so close, and it was just almost out of his reach. So, just the journey that wrestling has gone through, and to hear it from your lens, a couple years removed from wrestling, like, man, that is awesome. The factions and the tag teams, and I love that.
I miss stables. I really do. I don't know whether they just think they won't sell anymore or what the deal is, but I miss them.
They're pretty big in
you ever get to a
AEW.
stable is like a three man or 4-man stable which won't last forever. I will say one thing that I did love, and I truly enjoyed, that I didn't think I would, was New Day.
Oh yeah, New Day was fun.
I did not think I would like them as much as I did, and at first I was like, "What the hell are these guys?"
Yep.
And then after a while, they just grew on me, and they were so much fun.
Yeah, when they came out as the religious group at first, and then they just kind of evolved into their characters. Yeah, they definitely did a good job of pivoting that.
And they brought out the trombone.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was so much fun. When they had the giant box of cereal.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah, the Bootios.
Yeah. That's a real thing. You can get
them. You can buy Bootios now.
You can buy Bootios.
Yeah, I would say it's interesting because there are definitely things now that as of the things you like that you could watch, like the Bloodline thing. It's a big stable. Now they have had Sami Zayn split out of it, so that's good stuff. AEW's, I mean, there's some stuff that if you wanted to get back into it, there's some decent stuff to go watch and check out. I can understand not wanting to get all the investment in like you did back in the day.
Yeah.
It is a lot of watching. There is still a lot of WWE that I fast forward through. And it's interesting because we were going to do the Raw review. We might still try to do it, but I didn't think Raw was all that great this week. I thought there was the Sammy KO thing at the beginning with the Kevin Owens not wanting to work with him, telling him to go get Jay. Awesome, like that. Then I like the Cody Paul Heyman interaction, but that's about all I really liked on this week's show. So I was surprised when Jared early, he's shaking his head. I was surprised when he said it was such a good show because
I thought
it was okay.
Unfortunately, right now, Bootios are not available on Amazon, so I'll find them elsewhere. Can you see that? Not available.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, you used to be able to get them.
Yep.
No, I'll get them. Yeah,
he's gonna get some Bootios.
Yeah, give me my Bootios.
They used to sell them at shows, and you can get them signed by the guys.
Yeah.
Oh, how awesome would that be? I have we were lucky enough to get some artwork done by one of the artists that did some of their ring gear, and I went and bought one. I went and bought one of the New Day shirts. So it's like this teal blue, turquoise, light blue, Carolina blue color, and they're on a unicorn. And then there's 3 of them back to back. And my wife, Tiff, grabs the shirt, and she's we're doing laundry, and she looks at me and goes, and Tiff does not swear, and she looks at me and goes, "What in the actual?" And I was like, "Actual what?" And she just holds the shirt up. What in the actual? I was like, "That's the New Day," and she just flings it like, "No."
Yeah, he did the artwork. That's our new our little cover for Twitter now. Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you, Suicidal, Mr. Tommy. He is super active on social media, and he's got a couple other web pages that he operates from. So we'll make those available to the fans if they're interested in getting some pretty sweet artwork done. So
yeah. It was pretty neat that he did ours. It was cool. It came out really good. I don't know why I'm sleeveless in it, but that's all right. It shows off my tattoos, I guess.
Because you have a damn Darth Vader tattoo.
I guess he wanted to show it off.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, well, this has been a pretty cool Candid Cave conversation collectively.
The collective
alliteration, so I like
conversation
to do it
brought to you by the state of Georgia, the national fruit, the peach, and the finishing move of your newest member of the No Shave Man Cave, JC the Tickler. Live from the state of Georgia. Georgia. Jeremy, I cannot wait to meet you in person. Congratulations on your pending nuptials. Can't wait to find out where you're registered. Hopefully it's on Amazon and Target because they have stuff.
Buybesttoday.net
and buybesttoday.com where you can
.net
all your necessary needs for your pending nuptials.
Cool.
Your bath and body works needs. No? Anyway, man. Well, cool, man. So we made it. It's February 21st. I remembered what month it is. I am honored and privileged to be joined by Jeremy, who came to us to talk to us on a previous episode dealing with the unfortunate mental health that many of us, and specifically veterans, need. So, Jeremy, on behalf of JT, Jay Tilly, thanks for joining us here in the No Shave Man Cave. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ellie Jair.
Jay Tilly.
Thank you for joining us, along with JC the Tickler, here in the No Shave Man Cave. Be safe, look out for one another, and we'll see you soon on the floor.
You've been listening to the No Shave Man Cave.
If it's pro wrestling, we're talking about it. Unless we see something shiny and wander off into the woods. If you hang around long enough, we'll eventually come back. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Fire off your comments and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at No Shave Men Cave. Y'all be cool, and we'll see you next time on the floor.